Hello to everyone who's just joined. I'm super excited to announce that my debut song being sent to the distributor today. I mastered it. Thank you for all the support. This has been, a very long process, not been easy. Fingers crossed it'll come to you super soon.
This looks like it looks like a film.
You see my cat socks? Aggressive artistry.
You've got like a sensitivity that takes a long time to kind of perfect and build.
To me or you?
You.
Really?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think you can call me a guitar purist. I don't
You
know.
got sensitive playing, it's good.
Hello everyone, welcome to our behind the scenes video. This is essentially going to be a explanation of how we recorded and made and evolved our song True.
The story.
It was originally my song, but Christian transformed this
I
song.
think I put like one synth in there, maybe. I don't know if it's still there actually. But yeah.
No, I actually did keep your sense. I took the ones out of Afterlife. That's the one I took out of.
Where did the idea come from? Where did it start?
This song started back in 2020. I was 18 years old and I was in first year uni. And I, as you know, through high school I was kind of working out music, but essentially I got to this point and this idea just came to me. And it was originally, it was this sort of guitar. And originally,
nice, easy
I just, and it just, simple. I don't know what kind of happened, but I just started essentially writing some words over that. It wasn't Shakespeare, but it was, it was something.
Yeah.
And anyway, and then I kind of had this template version of True, and it was really the same version of the song that we made, but it was just, I didn't have any idea in terms of how the song would evolve into what it is. But yeah, I was 18, and at the time, this was 2020, and we're in Australia, and there was some really bad lockdowns where they basically shut everything, and we were trapped in Sydney, and I couldn't even, we planned to start recording it, but we couldn't, and so essentially I just did these series of 3 live streams called Quarantunes that he tuned into every single one and sat there for the whole thing. And I was doing covers of songs in there, and I was kind of looping, and I was doing all these things by myself. I wrote this song in May at the start of quarantine, basically, and it was about the world that I thought would sort of change, but it didn't. And it's a song called True. Basically, I put in there, I think maybe song 2 or 3, what was the version of True that at the time I thought was good. And it was really simple, and it was really plain and acoustic.
Yeah, it was nice to hear it like all together. Just it was really special hearing that on the live stream for sure, hearing it come together. It's a like really great idea. I really like the feel of it. It's a good vibe for sure. This
kind of line stuck with me, just stay true. I just come out of high school, and I think high school is a good and a bad experience for people. And for me, high school was really kind of up and down. And certainly I entered this conception of what university's like, where you meet so many new people and so many new experiences.
It's a whole different world for sure. Yeah.
And I think that's where the song in its pure form really came from, was I was new to that, and I basically, the whole song was sort of this kind of viewpoint of the version of me that came out of high school, the version that I was at 17, 18.
Trying to find like who you are essentially.
Yeah.
Which version of yourself you're going with. Yeah. No, you definitely change a lot like coming out of school. It's it's really like your world opens up. So did the lyrics kind of come to you, or do you have to kind of, work on them? So, because you start with the idea, right? That kind of set of chords, and does it come from the chords, or is it like, does it evoke a feeling when you're playing and then you kind of play off the feeling? Like, what's the process?
I think when I wrote True, because it was a song that stuck around 4 chords, and it was a song that was written to be this really acoustic kind of just nice ballad, and it was to kind of play safe, and it was just to put out a version of me that I was happy with, and a version that I thought would be would lay like a good, more or less like this kind of foundation point for me. And I think what happened was I stuck with those chords, and I just started singing these kinds of melodies over the top of it. And I think particular lyrics came to me And I think it came from that world where I was really uncertain, like,
Yeah, right.
I don't know where my heart will go, always somewhere far out of my control. And I think like the chorus of the song was really like anchored around that idea of like, don't do this, just like stay true to it. And I think the lyrics kept the song really to its form, to its true form.
Tied it together, yeah.
Nice. But yeah, no, like I didn't go so crazy with the different, like I didn't try to overcomplicate the guitars and the feels of the song.
Yeah, that kind of matches the idea behind it, I suppose, you know. It's just transparent and clean, and no, it's nice. No, it's quite interesting. Never thought about it like that. There you go.
Well, I think and like that's where like I really wanted to bring you and Ray into it, was to really take the version of the song that I'd done, this just pure acoustic thing, and I wanted it to be lifted into whatever, I don't know. I wasn't sure at the time. This first song.
Yeah, you want to play like what you've kind of got?
Yeah.
And I'll I don't know, tell you what's good, and then we can go from there.
The song is called True.
Gotcha. Have I heard this before?
You have.
Yeah, I thought I had.
In like parts.
Yeah.
So it's like C, A minor, F, G. It's just a classic nice full chord song. It starts. Did you like it?
Yeah, for sure.
So basically,
It's like structured really well. Being like brought really well together. Like the lyrics, like super nice.
yeah.
And you know, 4 chords can work, and it does.
It's gonna start. Oh, not now. Okay, so essentially today is the final writing session. It's with the main producer for the 3 projects, so I'm really excited. And we're gonna play through the songs. We're gonna finish writing some, and yeah, it's really exciting. So here we go. I'll give you a little bit of the first song, and then we can talk about it. So,
Right, yeah.
this is a song called True.
Whenever you're ready.
Alright. I don't know where my heart will go. Always somewhere far and out of my control.
Wow, that was really good, yeah.
What did you like?
Firstly, looks like you're serenading me in the park, yeah. But
Private serenade.
yeah. But is it meant to be played at that tempo, like, or are you gonna go like a bit slower to make it more intimate?
I think it brings out the song more, because it just, like as Christian said, like full chords, if it's done right, has so much power and feeling to it. Don't say you need someone else. Don't fall inside someone's heart.
I guess a good word would be raw. Even though it's before it's been processed and everything, it's like one of those things that it maintains its raw energy throughout, because it's originally based on that acoustic ballad style, and the way the emotions are translated through the music, it really makes you feel the experience of your experience, and your experience becomes many, because a lot of people are going to hear this and think about their own times when people wanted them to change, or they wanted someone else to change and they wouldn't. People are messy like that, and yeah, I just love that versatility in it. I love the simplicity of it. I love how raw it is. There's a lot to like about it. It doesn't have to be too complex. I can just say I like it because it makes me feel things. Everyone can take away something from it. And the thing is that it feels genuine, like authentic. Like you can hear some pain in it, you can hear some sorrow in it. Like it's not like you're telling a story, like you're telling an experience. That's what happens when you actually live through something and translate it to music like that. So yeah, it's pretty simple, but there's some beauty in the simplicity for me.
Because it's our first song, and because it's the first thing that we put out, like, do you think it's good enough for that first release? Because I'm like, this is like the perfect thing to put out because it doesn't overcomplicate anything, and it's not like I'm trying to do too much.
Well, I feel like for your first release, it should definitely represent you first. Right, you're the artist. This is your song. So, yeah, what defines you as a musician or artist with this song? Like, what do you think the song would represent about you? And why would be a good idea to send this first?
Yeah. No, it's. I think it just sets a nice sort of palette, and like it just sets a nice kind of a nice stage for like definitely the second release, and then like when the EP comes, it just keeps building off this, and I don't think I lose the vulnerability I'm trying to communicate through the song, but like I also feel like it'll sort of define my artistry and my style, I think, just because it's that rigid, stripped, like a message that is, I guess, pertinent to many people, and I feel like I don't try to jeopardize it, and I'm not trying to change that the more music that I put out. I really like that.
Like what?
The kind of riff.
So like, what kind of progression is that? Like,
I guess it's just a pretty standard 4-chord sort of thing.
Right.
But it's kind of meant to revolve around this simple sort of progression that plays on the emotional feeling of the song.
Right.
And then is like layering on top of each other and just gradually builds with that, and it has that acoustic feeling to it rather than an overly complicated. Like, I didn't want to overcomplicate the heart of what the song was saying, but I also didn't want to make it too. I wanted the simplicity of the song to reflect what the message is, and I guess what the feeling is like when I play it, and what I use when I wrote the ideas of it.
What's the song about? Wait, what's it called again? True, yeah? Yeah,
it's called True. It's the first song we're going to put out. It's I don't know, I guess it kind of talks about like a first love and a first love experience, but it's about loss. It's about not wanting something to go. It's not wanting a person to change. So like when you meet somebody and you know the feeling that you have, and that person sees that in you at the same way, and you like share this connection and this sort of bond and everything, and then that can get tested, and then you can often lose it, or you feel pressure to maybe change them, to maybe keep that person. And that's why the idea of please stay true, just stay true in the song is like what I use. So it's not intended to be like a cliche, a typical love song. I just want it to be a song that actually is like broken down in what it talks about, but like is also, it's just completely focused on the idea of not wanting to lose someone, and how special that person is, and how that feeling doesn't change, and that it'll always stay with you. That's kind of what the song is to me. Yeah.
Right. What do you think other people can take out of the song, if that's what the song means to you?
I just think it's, regardless, you know, if you're with someone, if you're not with someone, or if you had like a fling, or you felt something with somebody, I think the song, the heart of the song, and what I think I'm just going to try and keep it around when we come to record it, is just keep it as that thing of like, the more the song is layered, the more that we build on these feelings, and that people should just take, I guess I want people to be like, I can look at anybody and not just see this as a love song. I want people to see this as like a song that talks about, it could be friendship, it could be love, it could be anything, but it's the idea that I think it's so important that people don't feel the pressure to change, and that people don't, obviously some people might not like to change, but it's just the idea that like
it's really hard to really summarize. It's just, it was a part of myself that was like, I felt like I was losing everybody, and I didn't want to change or hate myself for it. So I just felt the pressure to look at it differently and say, I'm not changing, I'm happy, just don't change who you are.
And I think the song evolved so much. Like, that's the crazy thing about this, and that's why I really wanted to make this, because I wanted to kind of document, as you see in this, like, it changed so much. And that was really from you, because I think it, I wanted to keep it close to this kind of nice acoustic, show myself, be vulnerable, keep it nice. Like, I wanted that to be a version of myself, the best version I thought of who I was as an artist at the time. And then we stuck to that in the first original few sessions of it. And then I don't know at what point we decided, after we'd kind of layered, we kind of added the drums, we started experimenting with synths and things, and then suddenly we hit a point where we went, it's not opening up enough.
Yeah, I remember you saying like it's something's missing, like it needs something more. I think like when you have these ideas in your head, you kind of got a sound that you envision, and it's kind of hard to translate that sound into like real sounds, you know, and you kind of have all this motion you want to get across, and sometimes you got to like experiment a bit and add some things to it and see what kind of gets the message across, gets the feel across. And we started messing around with a couple different styles, which was fun.
We did. We did.
What was the first thing we did? Yeah.
Because it's just the same trick over and over.
Just
I always wanted this kind of rock type drum. I thought it kind of needed to be like an anthem song, but I didn't want to overproduce it because it would take it away from its acoustic, nice version of me. And then I was like, what does it need? Because then we started doing synths. We tried to do some strings. Yeah. You being you, wanted some jazzy strings. Yeah. And then we thought, and then we started really adding in these kinds of.
And a bit of energy to it,
And we just did that, I think, on plain natural tone on the Strat. And then you went, what if just for the fun of it, we put on this really distorted rock tone?
Yeah.
And I went, like, sure.
Don't say you need someone else.
A bit of flavor to it.
We basically come in and I just kind of show you ideas, and then like we just do these little kind of snapshots of songs, and Chris just was like, let's just chuck some guitar in it.
Just stay true.
And then it started going, this actually works.
I think it's just, when you're translating from like, especially, you know, when you're an acoustic live performer, translating into that recorded environment, it's different. Like it just doesn't, it's not quite the same, but it was fun to like add that bit more. And I think it was kind of, I think we went a bit over the mark. Like we were kind of pushing in all sorts of directions, you know, and it was a bit too much, but then I think we dialed it back a bit and kind of got this like tasteful level of metal.
And then I think at that point, this was because we started recording it December 2021 really, because obviously the song also evolved from so many personal things for me. Like obviously it was first written with the idea of like wanting like to fall in love and all these things when I came out of school, that I didn't have these experiences, and then that was always the underlying message of the song really. It was written as this 18-year-old who didn't have any experience, and then it goes into really like November 2021, like throughout 2021 with the kind of lockdowns and not really being able to record, we built this studio, Dragon Scratch Studio,
very fun.
and we also did that as a project where I would send you the floor plans and you would give some of your DT advice, and we basically engineered these things, and I saved up all my money in lockdown, and I spent a ridiculous amount of money that I won't say.
And a large portion of it on the sign.
The neon sign.
Gotta respect it.
It's good, and the funny thing is I want to get more neon signs. Well, I actually looked at getting like a custom-made one of the logo.
That would be pretty sick, yeah.
And I still want to do that, but I'm just going to get my value out of that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's nice having all the gear, just made recording like very easy, with especially just having good speakers to listen to as well.
That's what you were most excited about, the speakers.
Yeah, absolutely. Like having some good demanding speakers.
Well, I think it was really important to me to be like, and obviously this is the thing with working with you, like, because I feel like Chris knows my artistry like no one else, and that's really the thing. Like, we can get in here and you would be like, this is good, or like you sound okay this day or whatever. And I think the fear for me was like, if we tried to outsource this, if we went into like a studio or whatever, we wouldn't always have that. But also with COVID, it was really hard because we'd have to pay so much to the studio, but we would have no control over accessing it. So I think for me, it was really important to like build this in here and to feel like this was a space that we could record and I could just try and push on with.
Yeah, it's just fun as well. Fun to do the whole thing and learn how it all works. It was definitely a fun process, but it was great having that streamline of the process. Like you just straight from the idea, you can just quickly get it through and recorded. Don't have to do a lot of like thinking and guessing. Just get the ideas out and then start kind of shaping it. But it was always impressive. Like you'd have like an idea, and you're like, let's try add this, and it's like one take, just like nailed it.
What?
And it's like very consistent. I was like, damn, you don't have to record things like a few times.
Yeah, it's true. But like,
it's a performance skill for sure.
You should hear my more recent stuff. I'm doing thousands of takes on it. But, I mean,
perfection. That's the dream.
Like I remember when this was May 2021, because we were scheduled to start in the version of the studio which we had at the time.
Yeah. And
I remember Ray saying like, it's really important like you put out like what you think is like telling an experience and is you and is really like honest and like...
Yeah, that's what people connect to for sure.
And I think like as the years went on, with all those different kinds of setbacks of like us not having time to like, you need to balance into like all of the personal things that happened in my life at the time.
Yeah, it's interesting how your emotions like really just impact the stuff you make. It's it's like almost like subconscious. Like you just tend to produce and make things and take meaning from things in completely different ways depending on like what you're feeling. Yeah, it's I think that's the best thing about music for sure, is that it can connect in so many different ways. Yeah, it's a very amazing experience for sure.
I'm so happy how like the song tracks so much of that, and like all the because it's such like a genre blend in the way that it just really captures it. As much as when I tried to master it, and I remember saying it's only going to sound as good as it sounds, like I can't radically transform it into something else. And it feels like it's so much like a sign of the times where, for me at least, reflecting on it is like it documented like our first experience making it, recording, experimenting, learning so much stuff in it. And it's wild to now put it out.
Yeah, it's like...
and to be like, it's done, because it's a scary thing. It's a really scary thing.
But yeah, it's gonna be very exciting to have that like up there on Spotify or Apple Music or
whatever platform you use. It's gonna be on there. It's
Deezer,
Tidal.
It's gonna be really cool to have that there. Just like a kind of like, it's just nice to have a produce something like a proper result, like a tangible thing. You can be like, and you listen to it and you're like, you can remember the whole story. Of
I can really.
And yeah, it's a pretty awesome achievement for sure. It's, yeah, very exciting, and yeah, I'm excited for everyone to hear what we've been working on and what you've made. It's yeah, very exciting, absolutely.
It's going to be so exciting.
We're still working, still changing. We were just talking about how our styles are shifting. Maybe your style is shifting and experimenting with new stuff, and yeah, it's a fun journey, and yeah, it serves as like a great kind of stone in the path
so
to
exciting.
success.
I'm so excited for you to hear it, and
Yeah,
thank you for just always supporting and joining us on this journey.
for sure.
I'm Lucas,
I'm Christian.
and stay tuned, and we'll see you soon. True. Just stay true. It's out 16th of June.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, have a listen.